All right, class. So what we're going to do here is start our new unit on covalent bonding. Okay? So we've finished up with ionic bonding and we've talked briefly about the difference between ionic and covalent bonding. This unit we're going to focus on covalent bonding and building molecules and looking at three-dimensional structure. So eventually our goal is to determine the three-dimensional structure of a covalent molecule, which if you remember is made up of nonmetals only. Okay? And big difference between covalent and ionic, besides the fact that covalent is nonmetals only, remember ionic being metals and nonmetals, is that covalent is sharing electrons. Okay? So, covalent bonding, our goal here is to build models of a molecule, okay, to determine the three-dimensional structure. All right, so here's just again reminding us of the sharing of electrons with covalent bonds. Okay, remember instead of transferring, they are sharing electrons. Okay, and nonmetals only. So why do they share electrons? Because they want to get an octet. Every element wants 8 electrons except hydrogen, which only wants 2. So in order to get an octet, in order to get that full valence shell of 8, they share electrons. Okay. Now, when they share electrons, notice these hydrogens right here. They each start with 1. They share so that they each get 2, which is hydrogen's octet. Now, when they share and get their octet, they become a molecule. A molecule is used exclusively to describe covalent bonds, okay, or covalent substances that are bonded to each other to get their octet. So when we're talking about molecules, we're talking about covalent substances, which are made of nonmetals only. Okay? So imagine two dogs, they each have a bone. Okay? Neither one of them wants to give up their electrons. Neither one of them wants to give up their bone. So what ends up happening is they share. So now they belong to both. And as you know, sharing is sometimes easier. Sometimes it's difficult. Okay? You and your sibling, you have to maybe share your Xbox. Okay? If you're sharing your Xbox, you each get it part of the time. The same thing with these elements. Their electrons, they each get their electrons part of the time. Sometimes it's equal sharing, sometimes it's unequal sharing. Okay? We'll focus on that later on. For now, we're just going to focus on the fact that these elements, to get their octet, share electrons. Okay? For example, fluorine has 7 valence electrons. Okay? Now it wants to get to 8. So what it can do, if there's another fluorine in the area, is say, hey, you have 7, I have 7, why don't we each share 1? So now these 2 electrons belong to both fluorines. So here I have 2 electrons belong to both fluorines, plus 4, 6, 8. Now this fluorine has an octet, and this fluorine has 2, 4, 6, 8. Now each fluorine has an octet, so they're each stable, and that's called a single bond. Oxygen, with only 6 valence electrons, can share 2 each. So now these 4 electrons belong to both. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. Now they each have their octet, and they formed a double bond in the process, becoming a molecule. Nitrogen has 5 valence electrons. They can each share 3. So now these 3 from each nitrogen belong to both. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8. This nitrogen has an octet, and I have 2, 4, 6, 8. This nitrogen has an octet. And in the process, they form a triple bond. Okay? So this is another molecule where they're each sharing electrons. Now what we're going to do first is draw the Lewis dot structures of these molecules. Okay? An example of that is this right here. Here's an example of the Lewis dot structure of chlorine bonded to chlorine. Now when they form these Lewis dot structures, these electrons are being shared between the two. If they're being shared between the two, they are called a bond. A bond can be depicted or shown as 2 dots between 2 elements, or a line. This line represents these 2 dots. So this line right here is 2, 4, 6, 8. This chlorine has an octet. This line right here again is 2, 4, 6, 8. This chlorine has an octet. And this is a chlorine molecule. Okay? Now, a couple things. The Honk rule allows us to predict how many bonds an element can form. Okay? What you need to look at is how many unpaired electrons that element has. Hydrogen and halogens have 1 unpaired electron, therefore they form 1 bond. Oxygen has 2 unpaired electrons, therefore it forms 2 bonds. Nitrogen has 3, therefore it forms 4 bonds. and carbon has 4. Therefore, it forms 4 bonds. Okay, and this goes for the group as well. The hydrogen and halogen group form 1 covalent bond. Oxygen group forms 2. The nitrogen group forms 3, and the carbon group forms 4. Again, this first group is the hydrogen and the halogen. So it's not the hydrogen group. It's the hydrogen atom and the halogen form 1 bond. Oxygen group forms 2. Nitrogen group forms 3. Carbon group forms 4. Okay, so sulfur is in the oxygen group. It has 2 unpaired electrons. It forms 2 bonds. Phosphorus is in the nitrogen group. It has 3 unpaired electrons. Therefore, it forms 3 bonds. Bromine is in the halogen group. It has 1 unpaired electron. Therefore, it forms 1 bond. Okay? Here I have water. Okay? Water has a hydrogen forming a bond with oxygen here, and a hydrogen forming a bond with oxygen here. Okay? So this oxygen has formed 2 bonds, just like the oxygen group does. Now, I'm also going to describe the electrons that aren't involved in bonding, which are found here. Okay? These are called lone pairs. This is a pair of electrons not involved in bonding. And if you want to write this definition down, feel free. Lone pairs are pairs of electrons not involved in bonding. And as you remember, a pair is 2. So here we have 2 lone pairs, or 4 electrons not involved in bonding. Okay? Here's an example of carbon dioxide. As you can see, it has 4 bonds and 4 lone pairs total. Okay? All of these are lone pairs. This is phosphorus trichloride. It has 3 bonds and 10 lone pairs. Okay? Or 20 lone pair electrons, but 10 pairs of electrons. So what we're going to do is draw these Lewis dot structures right here. Okay? A couple things to be aware of is electronegativity. Remember, electronegativity on your periodic table goes from the bottom left to the upper right, with fluorine having the highest electronegativity. Fluorine, again, has the highest electronegativity. What we're going to focus on is who has the lowest electronegativity. Okay, so who's ever farthest away from fluorine, excluding hydrogen, who's ever farthest away from fluorine, excluding hydrogen, would go in the middle. So if I had chlorine and nitrogen, who's farther away? Nitrogen. So if I had a choice of who's less electronegative between chlorine and nitrogen, it would be nitrogen. Okay? Also, one thing we should be aware of is the number of valence electrons. Remember, you should have this on your periodic table. Group 1 has 1 valence electron, Group 2 has 2, Group 3 has 3, Group 4 has 4, Group 5 has 5, Group 6 has 6, Group 7 has 7, and Group 8 has 8, excluding helium, which only has 2. Okay? Key things to remember, everything wants 8, except hydrogen, which only wants 2. The least electronegative element goes in the middle, and the Hawk rule helps me predict how many bonds an element's going to form. Okay? Rules for drawing. When we get to drawing the Lewis dot structure, the least electronegative element is going to go in the middle, excluding hydrogen. You add bonds to the center atom, and if needed, we add our lone pairs to the outer electrons first, or the outer atom first, and then the inner atom. And this is going to make a lot more sense once we draw our Lewis dot structure. Okay? So, everybody get out worksheet 4.1. As you can see, it looks like this. Okay, so we're looking at worksheet 4.1. It looks like this. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is follow these 7 steps to draw our Lewis dot structure of CH4. That's going to be our first element. We're going to draw our Lewis dot structure of CH4, our first molecule. All right, so the first step I'm going to follow is to count the total valence electrons in the molecule. So I'm going to start a column that's called the have column. Okay? And in this have column, I list my elements. I have carbon and I have hydrogen. Okay? I have my have column, and I can make this a little bigger so you can see it better. Okay? So in my have column, I have carbon and I have hydrogen. And then I list how many carbons I have. Well, in this molecule, I have 1 carbon. In this molecule, I have 4 hydrogens. Okay? Next, I multiply this by how many valence electrons each of these elements have. Carbon has 4 valence electrons, and I find that on my periodic table. Hydrogen has 1 valence electron. I find that on my periodic table as well. So 1 times 4 here is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. Now next, I'm going to add these up. Okay? So I'm going to add 4 plus 4. 4 plus 4, obviously we all know, is 8. Okay? So I have 8 valence electrons. And what I've done is step 1 right here. Count the total valence electrons for the molecule. That's what I just did right here. Okay? So this allowed me to count the total valence electrons for the element. Okay? Next, I'm going to go to step 2. Step 2 says figure out how many octet electrons an element should have. Okay? How many do we need? So next, I'm going to look at how many electrons do I need. So I start a new column. In this new column, again, I list my elements. I have carbon and I have hydrogen. Okay? How many carbons and how many hydrogens do I have? Well, I still have 1 carbon. I still have 4 hydrogens. Okay? Now, to figure out how many I need, I remember every element needs 8 valence electrons, excluding hydrogen, which only needs 2. Okay? So this right here is always going to be 8, except for hydrogen, which is only going to be 2. Okay? Then I multiply these together. 1 times 8 is 8. 4 times 2 is 8. I add these up to get my total need. Okay? To figure out my total need. So 8 plus 8 here is 16. Okay? So my have is 8, my need is 16. What I've completed is step 1 and step 2. Okay? Next, okay, I'm going to go to step 3. Subtract the valence electrons from the octet electrons. Or you could say subtract number 1 from number 2. Okay? So I take my need, 16, minus what I have, 8. And what I get is how many electrons are involved in bonding. So this is 8 bonding electrons. Okay, this is 8 bonding electrons. All right, that's step 3. Step 4. Divide this number by 2, and that gives me the number of bonds. So I'm going to take this 8 and divide it by 2. Okay, so I'm going to take this 8 and divide it by 2. Now what does that equal? That equals 4 bonds. Okay. Now what I like to do is circle this information. I'm just going to bold it, or you can circle it, to help you remember that this is an important piece of information that is going to allow me to draw my Lewis dot structure correctly. So this is step 4, divide by 2, and get your number of bonds. Okay. Then I have one more math step. Find the number of lone pair or non-bonding electrons by subtracting step 3 minus step 1. Okay. So to do that, 8 bonding electrons is what I got in step 3. So I'm going to take 8 bonding electrons minus step 1. In step 1, I got 8 valence electrons. So I take step 3, which is 8 bonding electrons, minus step 1, which is 8 valence electrons. And what do I get? 0. And what is this? This is 0 lone pair electrons, leftover electrons. So this molecule is going to have 0 lone pair electrons. That's also an important piece of information. So I'm going to bold that, circle that, whatever you want to do, so that you remember this is how many lone pair electrons I need to have. So now I've done all my math. I go ahead and draw the structure. To draw the structure, okay, I'm going to put my least electronegative element in the middle. Okay, draw an arrangement with your least electronegative element in the middle. So my least electronegative element, excluding hydrogen, in this case would be carbon. Okay, so I'm going to put carbon in the middle. All right. Then I add all other elements to that. So I have 4 hydrogens. I'm going to add them so that they surround this carbon. Okay, so I have 1 to the left, 1 to the right, 1 on top, and 1 on bottom. Okay, so I've added my elements so that they surround my central element, carbon. Now I need to add 4 bonds. So to add 4 bonds, I'm going to use lines. Okay, so I'm going to add, I'm going to add lines to represent the bonds that form between carbon and hydrogen. Okay, so I'm going to add bonds